powered by Riverside FM.
A perfect metal sphere seemingly dropped from the sky. Unexplained vibrations, doors that open on their own, and a family terrorized by an object they couldn't understand. We're delving into the chilling mystery of the Betz sphere, a relic from another world, or a terrestrial enigma. Tonight on Newsworthy, 2 words and 2 question marks.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. Buying your first home can be overwhelming, but here are 5 tips to make the process go smoother. Number 1, find a lender, me, Ed Locke, that can answer any questions you might have and help you get pre-approved. There are multiple options available based on your situation. Number 2, work with a real estate agent you can trust. Number 3, don't rush the process. Take your time and know that the process could take some time. Number 4, consider all the costs. Number 5, get a home inspection and review it with your realtor. Keep these tips in mind, budget for yourself, and you'll be that much closer to making your dream of homeownership a reality. So reach out to me at 502-680-0953. NMLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, NMLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity.
Have you checked the children?
Get out!
You have scoured the podcast world and finally found us, Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry, where we delve into all things mysterious, macabre, or out of this world, and decide if they are truly newsworthy. 2 words and 2 question marks.
Brett. Welcome to Newsworthy with 2 words, 2 question marks. I'm Steve.
Jerry?
I'm Brett.
Brett, you are back.
I'm back.
You have been in the last 2 weeks to climbing Mount Hayes without an oxygen tank.
Yep.
To hunting dire wolves. Tell us about your adventures, man.
What can I say, man? I'm just a beast. That's why we have so many viewers. They just want to follow my all my adventures.
Escapades. Yeah, there you go.
Well, here's the thing. You can't split off from us now. Not without royalties anyway. So do you still have all your toes? Jerry was afraid you was going to lose a toe when you hiked Mount Hayes.
No, I didn't lose any toes. Did lose a finger, but it grew back.
It grew back.
It grew back.
That's why you're awesome.
That's right.
No, that's good genetics right there.
That's right.
See Bigfoot while you're on Mount Hayes? Aliens?
He actually gave me his phone number.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm hoping to have him. We can have him on the show pretty soon.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
And let me guess, his whole mantra is that people suck.
Oh yeah, he hates people.
What about the dire wolves? Were you able to get one?
Yeah, he's doing good. He's at home right now. He's pretty good with the kids.
Romulus or Remus? Which one was it?
It was Remus.
Ah, nice.
We like the Remus because the Harry Potter tie-in.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You didn't even know that, did you?
I didn't know. Romulus and Remus. Some people believe those are just moons. To me, that is the Romulan home system.
Remus is a werewolf in Harry Potter. I guess. Is that where they get that name?
What?
Then you look at Remus. What is Remus? Is that a moon?
No, that was they're originally moons, but that's
where the Harry Potter name comes from.
Romulus and Remus were the 2 planets, the home systems of the Romulans. episodes in Star Trek.
I do like Star Trek.
Yeah, see. Yeah.
It's not
That's
like
old
Star
school.
Wars.
That's going back. That's Jerry's age shit right there.
Next Gen is my. Did you ever watch Next Gen? Did you
I
watch
love the Next Generation.
Next Gen is my favorite.
Mine too.
Star Trek, the original series, is unwatchable.
It's pretty bad.
It's unwatchable. The movies are okay. Wrath of Khan was good. The Voyage Home was good.
Now, see, I like the movies from the original better than I did the Next Gen movies. Because the Next Gen movies were all weird about timelines and stuff.
First Contact I thought was good.
See, I didn't like that one. I'm like, you're in the next generation, but we're talking about stuff that happened now, and that's boring to me. I could live now.
Yeah, the series was definitely. I would agree with that. The movies of the original series is better. The series is better with Next Gen.
Now, I like the next group of movies, like the Young.
Those
are really
phenomenal.
Those are really, really good.
You know, like hardcore Star Trek fans don't like it because it's too much like Star Wars.
Well, that's tough. That's good.
That was their complaint. Like the J.J. Abrams. And I guess they're coming out with the fourth one too.
Yeah, we're way above Jerry's head in pay grade. Right?
Have you ever seen the new ones with
Chris
Pine?
Yeah.
No.
Zachary Quinto. Oh, he's an awesome Spock too.
So we're so far above Jerry's pay grade right now.
Like, those came out I think the first one came out in 2009.
Yeah, but Jerry was like 62 back then.
Oh, that's
so
true.
You know.
That's true.
I never really got into them.
You couldn't even see the movie at the theater. That's probably why.
He had to sit in the front row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they kept complaining because some dude's like sitting right in front of the screen.
You know, guys, I trust you all, and I like to confide in you all very much. I was really addicted to soap.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was bad.
Let me guess. I have no idea. Go ahead.
Notorious. He said,
"You okay over there, Steve?"
He's the worst.
He's the worst. I swear he's the worst.
For what? What did I do?
I just was trying to confide in you some deep personal problems that I'm having.
No, I appreciate that.
And you make fun of me, man. Well, because I'm addicted to this terrible substance, and I'm trying to come clean. And
I see. I get it. Trying
the
to
worst.
come clean with your soap addiction.
So bad. I'm almost ready to not do dad jokes anymore just because of Jerry. Because Jerry exists.
Oh.
Jerry is the epitome of the anti-dad joke.
He is the anti-dad.
He is the anti-dad joke.
He ruins it every time.
Well, it's because he's so blasted smart. I wish
you need to appreciate, not hate. Just say.
Wow.
Your dogs are very excited about something.
Let me do something with that.
So, Brett, have you ever heard, by the way, why libraries are so tall?
So tall?
So tall.
No, I haven't.
Because they have so many stories. Man. You don't like that one?
It's okay.
Was it wrong on so many levels?
I was like Steve's level type of joke. Oh man, I expected better.
Sorry I let you down.
So my wife called me last night.
What'd you have to say?
She said, if you're not home in 10 minutes, I'm giving the dinner I cooked to you, or for you, to the dog. I was home in 5 minutes. Hate for anything to happen to that dog.
There you go.
Dude, man, listen. I'm telling you. Truly, listen, your wife makes the absolute best cinnamon rolls I have ever put in my mouth.
You know, like, so she just made them, like, not even kidding, like maybe 2 weeks ago. And she has not made those again. Like, she has not made those since we were playing D&D. Like, that's how long. It's so funny that you bring those up.
Listen. Wait a minute. Listen.
Oh,
no. We have a bigger problem here, Jerry.
What's that?
A huge problem. You said she made those 2 weeks ago?
And you didn't get any?
Bro, I ate like 4 of them.
And now?
The kids, they each ate one. Truly probably ate like 2 or 3, and they were all gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the announcement that that Brett will no longer be joining Newsworthy because he's going to be buried somewhere in my backyard. You can't just say, I'm having Truly cinnamon rolls and then not
Let me just
bring them.
They were so good. They were so good.
Dude, really?
So good.
Next week, I'm putting your ass so hard. So hard to work. We're doing so much work next week. You're gonna be like, I'm never going to do that again.
So good.
Oh my!
I'll just go home and eat a cinnamon roll, make myself feel better.
I don't think I've ever had homemade cinnamon rolls in my entire life.
Listen,
I'm gonna have him make her make.
Here's the truth.
One time.
And let me just break it down for you. If it weren't for you, no, never mind. Never mind.
I'm sorry. I'm going to do a second dad joke. I did one and I let Brett down, so I'm going to do another one.
Well, no, I'm sure you would let us all down. But
Have you
go ahead and let
heard
us down twice.
Well, sure, that's my job. Have you heard about the guy who's afraid of escalators?
Huh?
No.
He takes steps to avoid.
Well, I bet he's the
Small
same.
talk.
He is the same guy that hates freaking elevators.
Probably.
They're always up to something.
There you go. Again, wrong on so many levels.
Surprised you didn't ruin that one for him.
I know, right? I
He didn't
could've.
give me enough time. He left no pause there.
No pause, no done. Hey, guys, we have tonight, we have been, if you join us on Twitch, which we usually do Twitch like 30, 40 minutes before every show, we just talk about what's coming up and what's going on and all the things. Tonight's, however, lasted about an hour and a half, and we are very late. So let's get into the topic. It's a cool topic. It's
It is a super cool
Oh
topic.
my gosh, it's after 9 o'clock.
yeah.
It's
Past my
It's
bedtime.
way past your bedtime. What, your
Way
bedtime
past
like
my bedtime.
6 o'clock?
Yes.
Oh, look, there's a message from your caretaker saying, Mr. Burnett, Mr. Jerry Burnett needs his nighttime meds. And yeah, that's bad.
You tell that as a joke. I literally take a handful of pills in the morning and a handful every evening.
Me too. Don't feel bad. It's part of the guy. Gosh, I wish I knew his name. I'm going to look it up because it's important.
Well, you all will be happy to know that I take 0 pills, except
for
for
you.
vitamins.
Good for you.
Take some omega-3s, some magnesium, and then a multivitamin.
And you eat pretty good. You're in great shape. You
Right.
exercise.
Some say I'm in the best shape of anybody in the world.
Well,
Some
round is a shape. Sorry.
Did you listen to last week's episode? You'll be really impressed with me, I think. I renamed my toilet last week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Got tired of calling it the John. Renamed it Jim. I said, you'd be impressed. Everyone is when I tell them I'm going to the gym every day.
For you, it's probably every 5 minutes.
Probably.
Gary Brecka was the
That's
guy
not.
that was on the Rogan show the other day. He's been begging to come on our show. We just ain't got time. But
Yeah.
he was on. He's a fascinating listen.
What's his name again?
Gary Brecka. You need to look it up and check out that episode.
Yeah, because that's what I listen to Joe Rogan on my. I'm training for a half marathon, so that's what I listen to.
What is a half marathon?
13.1 miles.
That you do what? Drive a car?
Run.
You run for 13 and a half miles
Yeah,
without a bear chasing you. You're just running
just run for the fun of it.
for the fun of it. Jerry, this
Yeah.
man runs 13 miles for the
What?
fun of it.
I'm going to in a couple weeks. I ran 12 miles last week.
Well, that's before lunch. I mean, what do you do?
I don't run. I'm a fat guy. If
I'm with
I'm
you.
running,
I'm not
there's
with
two things happening. Either I'm tripping the slowest old lady next to me so I don't have to run so far. I mean, I just have to outrun her, or I die. I'm not running. Here's the thing. I have never seen anybody running. You know, we live right here on Main Street, so people
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
run all
I'm
the
sure,
time.
yeah.
Never one time have I seen somebody running like this. No, it's always like, I get this face of absolute agony.
The last half marathon I ran, I was at mile 6, and I could see the camera there, so just take a picture of everybody. And I have the picture somewhere, but I like was running, and I like when I got to the camera, I was like look like half, and then you see a picture of me at mile 10, and I'm like, I'm just dead at that point.
Running is not my thing, dude. I'm fast.
It's different. You gotta like when I started. I've never been a runner. Like I'm not super fast either. But like once you find your pace, like you just kind of keep building on it, and like you gotta go get it. Like what people say is you gotta run slow to run fast. Like so, I always like if I can breathe like twice through my nose and then out through my mouth. If I can sustain that breathing, I'm good. If I'm like having to then that's when I know I need to slow down. But
I'm the same way, but that's when I'm trying to turn over on the couch.
Thank you.
It's not running a marathon.
I definitely wouldn't do it if I didn't have the race. So that's why I signed up for a race, because I'm like, oh, I got to do it now.
The closest I came is when I was first starting to my journey to professional wrestling, I would walk the track, and then I'd walk faster, and then I would jog like half the track, because you have to be in ring shape. Ring shape is way different than being in regular shape. Mm-hmm. And it really helped. But I hated every single second of it. And now as I'm older, I'm thinking, why in the F would I ever do anything that I absolutely hate? Running is one of those. And not only that.
High.
What?
You get a runner's high.
No, I have a motorcycle. Thank you. Not only that, it's gross. Have you ever seen like a one-legged duck try to escape the grasp of a wet, oily pig? That's what I look like running. It is ugly. It is gross. You don't want to see it.
I remember the last time I saw you running.
Really?
I think when you lived at the other house, you had a basketball goal up in the driveway, and you and Nick were playing basketball one time when I come over to your house for dinner.
Yeah.
And that's been...
And that was the last time we ran.
Pardon?
That was the last time we ran.
It was a long
last
time
time I
ago.
saw him.
Yeah, that ain't happening, dude. Freaking running. You guys, anyone who listens to our show that runs, kudos to you. Not for me. I'd rather lift weights all day than take a run.
I would too.
Anywho, back to what we were talking about. Good gravy. This episode is going to last forever.
This has turned out just like
it is brought. This episode is brought to you by Old Man. And this is what you become when listening to this.
This is like one of the things we said we weren't going to do.
And by the way, you always say, I'm so old, I'm not the one doing all this.
You know what the problem is? Both of us ended up drinking tonight. It's what happened.
I've had nothing, literally. I had one bottle of wine. That's nothing.
That's just, It's...
Do you know how much you have to drink to be able to say that? Well, I've had a bottle of wine.
I just had a bottle of wine. What do you mean? It's the whole bottle.
Had a bottle of filthy liquor and a 12-pack. That's nothing.
I drink alone. I love that song by
George Thorogood.
George Thorogood. I always make fun of it because it's funny. But anyway, Tonight, let's get into this. Jerry, we're talking about the Betz sphere.
Yes, we are.
I heard about this and I found it fascinating.
Super fascinating.
Jerry immediately says, "Oh, that's BS," because that's what Jerry does.
Not immediately. I did proper research and then said,
I'm excited to see what you say, because I thought it was super cool.
Me too. Let's start it off, Brett. Since you haven't been here in a million years, you've been out doing all the manly things that
throwing my fingers
people named Brett do. Tell us about the Betz sphere.
So Antoine Betz, who was a Marine engineer, and Jerry Betz, who was an artist, they both lived in Fort George Island, Florida, on 88 acres. It's mostly used for raising timber. On March 27, 1974, they came across a small metal sphere that was the size of a bowling ball. They found it while investigating a small brush fire near their home. So the sphere seemed The sphere was just under 8 inches in diameter. It weighed around 22 pounds. The sphere had no seams. It had no weld marks. It had no signs of machining. Other than a few scratches and a 3 millimeter triangle etched onto the surface, there were no signs of any damage. So they initially thought that the sphere might have been a cannonball left over from the New World conquistadors, or conquistadors, however you want to say that, and they decided to keep the sphere as just like a nice item to display on their mantle. So days after finding the sphere, Terry Betz, who was the son of the two parents, was playing his guitar and noticed a humming sound coming from somewhere in the house. After him and his friends stopped playing, the humming would stop, and then it would start up again when they continued. After investigating, they realized that the sound was coming from the sphere. As he played louder, the sphere would vibrate and begin humming even more. Their dog, at this point, began to start whining, seeming very uncomfortable with the noise. Terry sat the ball down, and then the ball began to move on its own. If someone rolled it, it would stop, begin vibrating, and then return to the person who rolled it. Jerry, I don't know how you could dispute this evidence. I'm going to keep going, but this is just I don't understand how you could.
I'm currently at a loss. Please talk for a while. I'll see if I can come up.
Sometimes it would roll for a few seconds, and then it would even roll as long as 12 minutes. Then they set the ball on a table just to see if it would fall off. It wouldn't. It stayed stationary. And they actually lifted the table up on one side. The ball rolled the other way so that it wouldn't fall off.
That is amazing to me.
Super amazing. And these are people like they just to give you some background on this couple. They moved to this island, this 88 acres, to get away from people. Like they were not looking for attention. You might dispute that. I can't wait. I really can't wait to see what you say. But from all that I saw, they did not want this attention. So I'll continue. They also shaped the ball and said in the news article that was posted about this. They said if you shake the ball vigorously and place it on the ground, it feels like a huge Mexican jumping bean which is trying to get away from you. It also seemed to be magnetic, and as it rolled more, the magnetic field seemed to increase. So there was one story where they would they could put a paperclip on it, and then they could take the paperclip off, and then they actually had like a mayonnaise jar lid that they put on it after like rolling it several times, and they couldn't get the lid off of the ball.
Also, just for clarification, other than the triangle shape on the sphere, there's no seams on this. Right. Completely seamless. Right. That's important for later.
Yeah. In the sunlight, the sphere seemed what?
Nothing.
I didn't say that it was seamless. Earlier.
No, it is seamless. I know.
I did say that.
So are ball bearings, but absolutely. Please continue.
No sign of machining. So in the sunlight, the sphere seemed to hum, and it would stay warm for up to 3 days after being in the sunlight. So it seemed to retain heat. At this point, they reached out to Jacksonville Journal. They talked to a photographer who came out. He came out and was so convinced of their story. The newspaper actually ran a story on the Betz sphere, and it was titled, "Is Silver Ball Space Object? Find Your Hopes." This led to people all over the world beginning to call them at all hours of the day. They actually ended up getting a call from the U.S. military and ended up loaning the sphere to the U.S. Navy for 2 weeks. They actually drew up a contract with the U.S. Navy that the family wanted to report on the sphere, and if they could not identify in 2 weeks that the sphere belonged to the military, that the sphere was to be returned to the family. So, Jerry, I think you're going to talk about some of the things that the Navy did with the sphere.
The Navy, yes, and some other groups. Are you done?
I'm done. Yep.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that they weren't looking for exposure, publicity. But yet, being the shrewd businesswoman that Jerry was, before she was willing to give it to the Navy and later to different entities, she insisted upon a contract. In the case of the Navy, there was no monetary arrangement, but in every other one, there was. They were paying a fee. So I don't think it's completely above board to say that they weren't looking for publicity when they end up drawing up contracts and charging people to look at this item. Now, in the case of the Navy, as you said, she ended up giving them 2 weeks, and the Navy flew her son Terry and the ball. They were not willing to let it go unsupervised. They flew their son Terry and the ball to the naval station in Mayport. And part of the agreement, I think you said, was that it had to be returned unless the government could prove and determine that it was their property, in which case, no matter what the contract says, the government's going to keep it if they say it's theirs. Now, in news reports, the Navy not only said that it wasn't theirs, they said what they had found out, that the ball was stainless steel, was not their property, and while they couldn't determine exactly what it was for, that it was certainly constructed on Earth. The Navy suggested that its tendency to move around was due to the small triangular chip in the surface that you mentioned earlier, that they said had a tendency to throw off its otherwise perfect balance, and the fact that the Betz's floors were uneven. They also suggested that it's likely that a huge ball bearing commonly used as check valves in the piping system of chemical plants. But of course they'd say that. That's what they always say, right?
That's exactly what they say.
So one thing about, you talked about it, they said it was made of stainless steel. Stainless steel is not magnetic.
Correct.
So this doesn't explain why it...
Well, it doesn't explain any of the things that the family claimed. By the way, it was only the family that claimed this. None of the people that ever experimented with it, from the United States Navy to the different scientific investigators to any of the newspapers, ever could verify any of the things the family claimed. That was only the family that, and some of their friends, some of his friends that he played the band with supposedly witnessed some of this, and they were later substantiated that. But those are the only people. None of this was ever verified, their claims. Anyway.
I heard something else, but I'll say that later.
Okay. The same month, the Miami Herald reported that a very similar ball in Jacksonville had been identified as part of a valve once used in a paper mill. Scientists were the next to take a crack at the mystery. As it happened, shortly after the Betz sphere story had broken, the National Enquirer was convening a panel of 5 UFO investigators in New Orleans. Now, I'm sure the National Enquirer and UFO investigations is at the very top of everyone's list of reputable places to get news information, right?
That's right.
Listen, if you, the National Enquirer, the National Examiner, Star Magazine, that's real journalism. That's
Exactly.
the unfiltered versions of the truth.
There you go.
If you believe Men in Black.
Now, in this cases, the 5 members of their UFO investigating team were all scientists or engineers. Among them was J. Allen Hynek, a Northwestern University astronomy professor and one of the best-known UFOologists of the time. And the Enquirer flew the Enquirer flew Terry Betz and the sphere out so it could be investigated by this panel of 5 scientists. Hynek and his colleagues were so unimpressed with the ball, and they completely agreed with the Navy that it was man-made and that there was no spectacular properties of the ball.
Is that why he stole it?
Is that why? Who stole it?
Hynek.
Oh, when he was there, keep in mind the ball was there with Terry, the owner's son, and he stole it under his nose?
Well, Terry left and came back, and the ball was switched.
Right, because what it was like the mother was in an accident. Somebody called them. The mother was in the accident. He left.
There was no accident.
Right.
He comes back. Hynek gives him back the sphere. Now the sphere has
a seam.
Let me guess. You got this from the National Examiner? Is that where you got this part?
No, this is facts.
Just guess. Oh, facts?
Yeah.
Okay. The next group to look at the sphere and to examine it was a 2012 analysis by Skeptoid, which indicated that the Betz sphere may have been a ball check valve produced by the Bell and Howell Company. The size, the weight, the metallurgical composition exactly matched those of the company's ball check valve. Skeptoid even had a possible explanation for the sphere's autonomous motion, noting that the sphere sat quietly on display inside the Betz home for nearly 2 weeks when it was being reported and had video cameras on it, and is not reported to have ever moved on its own at all, except for when someone took it down to experiment with it. And quoting a representative of the United States Navy who stated that, I believe it's because of the construction of the house. We talked about that. The house was old and had uneven stone floors. The ball, they all agreed, was almost perfectly balanced. It took very little indentation to make it move, to begin moving, or to change direction. They even had a theory of how it arrived at the Betz's home. They noted coverage of the New Mexico artist James Durling Jones, who had been collecting scrap metal for use in some of his sculptures. He reported having loaded some of the aforementioned ball check valves into the rooftop luggage rack of his Volkswagen bus. Now, I want you to stop and think about that for a second.
I would, because I want to know who in the world is driving a Volkswagen bus with a roof rack.
Not only that, this person driving the Volkswagen bus with a luggage rack decided, you know what I need to put up there? Is some 22-pound balls. Now, again, there were news reports at the time that this gentleman reported loading the ball check valves into the rooftop luggage of his Volkswagen bus, having driven through the Jacksonville area around Easter of 1971, at which time a few of the balls rolled off the luggage rack and were lost. Can you imagine being the car behind the Volkswagen bus with a luggage rack with 22 pounds balls, steel balls?
How do you keep it up there?
No idea. But this was in the news reports prior to them finding it, that he had made this trip, that these 22-pound ball check valves, that the Navy later said that this appeared to have the exact same size, exact same weight, that he had them, and some rolled off, some went missing. Now, these conclusions did nothing to tamp down interest in the sphere. And going along with what Brett said, this part does back up what you said, that they didn't want the notoriety. Eventually, they had enough. Am I getting into your area in it all?
Go ahead.
Okay. About a year and a half after the orb became national news, the family simply stopped talking about the sphere. And I mean stopped talking. They said it had overtaken their lives. They were getting calls 24/7. They quit taking phone calls. If they did and take a phone call, they would immediately hang up, and they figured out that's what they wanted. And to this day, never discussed it anymore. Right. So that part certainly makes it look like that there came a point, if they weren't there initially. No, they quit discussing it, having anything to do with it, and from that point, just refused to do anything with it. So that part does make it look like they didn't want the notoriety, and that's the end of my part, Steve.
Well, before we get into whether we agree, disagree, if this needs more or less newsworthy, if this were an alien device, I thought it would be prudent to bring in a few more potential off-world devices that humanity has found that has gained notoriety. And some of these, we'll go through each one of these the same way to see if it's more or less coverage. And some of them are really hard to say, so don't you dare make fun of me. I'm trying to say it because it's really tough. And I have a limited vocabulary, especially after wine.
You do better than I, so I'm not going to be making fun of you.
So let's go back into the early 1900s.
That I would make fun of.
That's worth it. In the 1900s.
Yes, for those of you that might be in doubt, I'm sure there's one, possibly two left. We are from Kentucky.
Yeah, right. In the early 1900s, sponge divers stumbled across a shipwreck in the middle in an island near Antikythera. Oh, gosh, that is not right. Antikythera. That's better. They made a discovery that ignited the curiosity of archaeological archaeological.
There's just one bottle of wine.
I'm just having a hard time today, brother, and historians alike. The strange mechanism was recovered, and its layers were carefully peeled away by modern technology, and a story began to unfold. It was no mere trinket or even a navigational instrument, which was first thought. It was truly a marvel of engineering. And what are we talking about? The Antikythera mechanism. Whew. Imagine a wooden box encased in bronze, its face adorned with dials marked for celestial cycles, the zodiac, and even phases of the moon. Behind the face were gears of intricate craftsmanship, interlocked like a clock in clockworking. Each turn of the crank brought the heavens into motion, predicting the position of the sun, the moon, and the planets with uncanny precision. It was as if the ancients had captured the cosmos in their hands. Now, what kind of time frame do you think this device was made in, Brett? 1970s, maybe? 60s?
Maybe.
How about 100 BCE?
Jeez.
Right. The carbon dating and the dating of the materials, the wood that surrounded it, brought it all the way back to 100 BCE, which is unbelievable. So either, now, we'll go into that a little bit, but the ability for ancient Greeks, who this has been attributed to making, were either so far advanced in their time, or possibly the aliens that dropped it off were so far behind in the times. If you can travel from planet to planet, why would you be using something with actual gears? Just something to think about. We'll come back to that. It's pretty impressive, I think. How about something that was discovered? The early 1900s were amazing.
So let me ask you this.
Sure.
So why was it attributed to the Greeks?
Because of the writing on the dials.
Oh, okay.
The type of lettering, the type of the symbology
Right.
of the words and stuff that they
And
saw.
it was like Greek letters.
Mm-hmm. But to imagine the ancient Greeks were so advanced that they had been able to combine with their metallurgists, and I don't even know who would work metal in that fashion in ancient Greek. I mean, in the Middle Ages, we had people who just did clocks. That's all they did. Their whole life was making clocks and gears because they have to be so precise.
Right. Yeah.
And that's for a 24-hour cycle. This particular device, its job was to picture out where the sky was at any particular night over hundreds of years.
That's crazy.
Insane. We shift from that to ancient Crete. And the Phaist, my gosh. I don't know why I picked these when I can't even say the name.
You did the first one really well.
Thank you. The Phaist disc. It's a fascinating artifact from ancient Crete. Discovered in 1908 at the Minoan Palace of Phaistos. My gosh. Phaistos. It's Phaistos. What do you think? Help me out here, guys.
I forgot the spelling.
Phaistos. Phaistos?
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 Phaistos? Yeah. You know
as
what?
good as I could do.
That works for me,
Yes.
Brett. Good job. So it's a fired clay disc. It's a fired clay. So clay, hit it with a flame. It's 15 to 16 centimeters in diameter, featuring 242 different symbols arranged in a spiral pattern on both sides. These symbols were stamped in the clay before it was firing, making it unique among archaeological finds. The disc's purpose and meaning remain a mystery. We don't know what it was made for at this point. Some scholars believe it may have been some sort of religious text or even a hymn, possibly dedicated to a goddess like Astarte. Others have attempted to decipher its symbols, which resemble elements of linear A and linear B scripts, but there's no definitive interpretation that exists. It is considered one of archaeology's greatest enigmas and is currently displayed at the Archaeological Museum at Heracleia. Gosh, why are these words so bad?
So,
it's basically a 16 centimeter clay disc that has writing that we have not deciphered on both sides. The symbology that we have not deciphered on both sides.
what was the date on it? Do you know? Do you know what it was dated to?
No, they found it in 2008, but they have no idea. They attribute it to ancient Crete.
Where is Crete?
In that Mediterranean level. Please look that up, so. Jerry. Is that right? I'm pretty sure it's in the Mediterranean, around the Mediterranean Sea.
I will look that up.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, Jamie.
I said Jerry.
I was making a Joe Rogan.
Oh, Jamie. Yeah, Jamie, look that up for us.
Crete is the largest island in Greece.
Look at that,
and the fifth largest in the Mediterranean Sea. It's located in the eastern Mediterranean.
Another Greek.
Another Greek thing. I've got one more for you. And this one is kind of crazy. This one is something that is attributed to has been attributed to aliens. It's been attributed to the devil. It's been attributed to ancient races that we have yet to discover, including the Lemurians, the Meuse, or even the Atlanteans, because this writing is so unique. The Voynich manuscript is a fascinating document. It's divided into 6 sections based on illustrations. It has botany, astrology, astronomy, biology, cosmology, pharmaceuticals, and even some recipes. The botanical section features colorful drawings of plants and herbs, and while the astronomical section includes zodiac and celestial arrangements, the biological section is particularly strange. Drawings of nude women, lots and lots of nude women. And they are all connected by tubes and flowing fluids, sort of like if you were to put people in a test tubes. It's what it looks like. The pharmaceutical section depicts medicinal plants along with elaborate jars and bottles. Now, the thing about this is the plants and herbs that it shows are not of earthly origin.
What?
We've not been able to find any plants that resemble the drawings on Earth.
So where was this found? I know you're probably still going, but
yeah, I'm still going. This was somewhere. Let me look that up. Yeah, go ahead there, Brett.
Yeah, I got
it. So its origins are equally mysterious. The manuscript was rediscovered in the early 20th century by Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish bibliophile, and it's currently housed at Yale in the manuscript library. But this thing,
wow.
Can you see some of the pictures?
No, yeah. I'm just saying the fact that it's at Yale.
Yeah, I mean, so
it was found in 1912 by Wilfrid Voynich,
yeah,
a rare book dealer at the Jesuit College at Frascati near Rome.
Crazy, right?
Part of the Jesuit College's collection of ancient manuscripts.
Wikipedia says the first confirmed owner was George Barish, a 17th century alchemist from Prague.
Isn't that neat?
It's been carbon dated to around 1404 to 1438. It's when they think it was.
It's kind of like, it reminds me of that story of the monk who was banished and had to write a book overnight, prayed out to the devil to write a manuscript overnight so he could be released. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
That's a really cool story. We'll Google it and cover it at a different late. So let's go through these. The Voynich manuscript. Do we need more or less information about it?
More.
I agree. I think
we don't know what it's saying.
With no clue. And the pictures that it has dictate some very modern issues. Test tubes, The fact that it was dated at, it has complete pharmaceutical chapters, and it was dated, what'd you say? Yeah.
1404 to 1438.
1404.
When they carbon date the material that it's written on, the material
Right.
dates back to 1404 to 1438. Now, again, when you're talking about the pharmaceutical parts, we assume, due to some illustrations,
Right.
we still haven't been able to figure out a single word of it. It's in a language. It's either hoax, it's completely made up, or it's a language there is no record of ever. Which, somewhere along the line, how many languages from the 1400s went extinct?
Right.
So there's a ton of mystery. Not much is known about it. So to me, that alone means it needs
These pictures
more
are
coverage.
weird.
Yeah, if you're looking up some of the pictures of the manuscript, it is
some
insane.
of the naked women pictures. And I was like,
yeah, lots. Like there's like 42 pages of naked drawn.
And there's
women.
like some sort of like what is that?
Yeah,
there's a little like tube structure that's what the heck is that? There's a little tube structure that like they're like attached or like they're I don't know. That's weird.
I'm with Jared. Thumbs up on this one.
I still say thumbs up, but I also say if you're looking at some of the pictures, I say something similar to what I told you and Sarah once. Apparently, you guys have access to far better pharmaceuticals. Apparently, he had access to far better pharmaceuticals than I do.
He had some pretty good gummies, huh?
I think he might.
Brett,
Just
what do you think?
I think it's a thumbs up. I think it's pretty cool. The fact that we can't identify any of these plants is pretty amazing.
So let's shoot over to the Antikythera mechanism, found also in Greece. This one amazes me because the fact that we found it is amazing to me. Talk about the proverbial needle in a haystack. Some sponge people found it, and we're like, oh, what's this? And not just think it was coral or junk or sponge hunters. They were collecting sponges
from the
bottom
shipwreck.
of the ocean. Yeah. So to me, that's amazing enough. But the fact that in ancient Greece that they had the ability to map the solar system, pretty impressive.
We've talked about this, but it was so long ago and so separate. Even this, this is from the 1400s. I can't believe that this has lasted this long.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? Because these pictures are pretty clear. But look at it.
You're talking about the manuscript?
Yeah. Sorry, the Voynich manuscript.
Yes.
It's just.
And this was underwater for whether we date it back to 100 BC, and it was found when?
We just now have been able to do X-ray on it to see all of the gears inside it because of the degradation in the seawater and stuff.
It was covered in seawater for over 1900 years.
Yeah.
Of course, there's severe degradation.
Right.
I agree. Thumbs up. There's too much mystery involved.
I love it. I just can't imagine the guy who invented this and said, hey, let's ship it somewhere. I'm going to keep it.
I want to know more about the device, the man, the people that invented it.
Absolutely.
All about it.
But it's it was from so long ago that, how many natural disasters have occurred there that have just wiped out? We just don't know. It's this thing is we just don't know anything about that civilization. It's just so too long ago.
To me, it's about the same thing. The more we learn about our past, the more we realize we don't have a freaking clue.
We are, just in the last 100 years, just think about the advancement that we've had. Who knows if we've not been through this whole cycle before?
Right. Well, Graham Hancock is actually 100% believes that, and I agree with him. What about the Phaetos disc? This one I'm kind of on the fence about. I'm not going to lie, because it's just some symbols on a disc that pretty much anybody can do. That's not an unheard of technology, but the writing is so unique. Maybe it's just a different group or tribe or group of people.
Have you ever just doodled on some paper?
Yeah.
What if that's what this is?
Right. I saw a meme the other day.
People were trying to study this, and there's just some kid's doodle.
What if the guy doodling was blown out of his gourd when he was doodling?
That's what I'm saying.
When I look at the one and some of the images, that dude was out there.
Well,
But yes,
well,
I'm kind of the same. This is interesting, not nearly as much as the other two.
right. This is something that you and I could do this, Jerry. To be honest.
Right. This is something that's pretty easily. Yeah.
Could I make an ancient computer that I couldn't do that today?
What did you say? AI? You mentioned that, but it was found in 1908.
Right.
So,
I'm just saying, like
it could be recreated. Yes, something very similar. Absolutely, it's still interesting. So I give it a half a thumbs up.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, now the big one, the Betz sphere, the original thing we wanted to talk about.
Did you see the thing about the X-rays that the Navy took?
Yes.
Did you see that?
Those are
Yes.
still available. You can look those up to this day. Did you see the X-rays?
He's like,
maybe we looked at different X-rays. I don't know.
You can look it up. They're publicly available.
Of the where they have
well,
like
of course
the three,
they are. That's what they
the
would
three
say.
spheres in the middle. They're like it's like got
Just
layers.
look it up.
I'll let you guys go first.
Look at the
Well,
spheres and tell me if you
okay.
see anything
So-
there of the X-ray. Which, by the way, it's not recently available. When they did it, they made the X-rays publicly available. I don't know. It wasn't on the internet, I don't think, initially, but they put it on the internet and for everyone to see. So
This is one of those stories that when I first heard about it and started digging, I was blown away by it.
Right.
Loved it, thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. Digging into it, however,
loses a
really
little
breaks
bit of its
my heart.
luster.
because it does lose its
bit.
luster, if you will. Now, how fascinating would it be if half of these things were accurate? Which we don't know. If you take the Betz family at their word, it's all accurate.
Yeah.
If you take the Navy at its word, which lies to us every day, it's not so accurate. So, but yeah, I'm going to give it a thumbs down. I'm a downer on this one.
I give it a half a thumbs up.
Really?
There's still enough mystery that I think it needs some more research. I wish the family would donate it and give it to someone, some university, to let them do research on it.
Well, they
Send it to
claim
the
that the one
Smithsonian.
that they have now is not the same one that they had.
Right.
So.
They said that Heineck stole it and switched it.
Well, of course they would say that.
Well, but there,
That's
I mean,
what you always say about the other side of the
Well,
people.
right, but it left. It had no seams. When it came back, it had a seam. That's a huge difference.
There's a lot of things they say that can't be backed up. And keep in mind, one problem with their entire story, when you look into it, Jerry intentionally tried to make as much profit on this as she absolutely could from the very beginning. She
Well,
was
it's-
charging anybody to come and take a picture, to do anything.
Well,
So if that's your intent, suddenly you've lost a lot of credibility to me when you begin to claim, oh, it does this miraculously and it does this. But yet when they put it on their home and let cameras come and videotape it for 2 weeks, and not one single thing was observed, not one.
well, that's
not
because
That's the
it
thing.
knew.
That's the thing that was even when I was like, "Oh man, this is really cool." Like they kept showing pictures and videos of the sphere, but none of them
Doing
had
nothing.
it. You're right. None of them had any sort of video of like it moving and doing
Humming.
Like
anything.
if they had a video of it going up the table when they were trying, that would,
Even
I'm
on its
sold.
own beginning to move or humming, that would be different, but they
Yeah.
don't have that.
well,
So-
the problem is the person that had the control and was trying to make money. His name was Jerry. Her name was
Her,
Jerry.
yes.
But
But she screwed the name up. She
Yeah.
spells it Gerri. So yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't count.
so thumbs down for me. Thumbs halfway
Half a
up
thumbs
for
up.
you. What about you, Brett?
I'm probably with you. Maybe a half a thumbs. Like
Half a thumbs.
it's like I don't know. It was cool.
beginning,
There's
very cool.
enough mystery about
Yep.
it. That's
Yep, that's me.
Good deal. That was an interesting episode, but our journey isn't over yet. If you stay tuned, we have an exciting bonus story coming up after this commercial break.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. When it comes to buying a home, the process can be overwhelming and confusing. With so many options, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why it's important to work with a certified mortgage loan originator. I have the knowledge and expertise to guide you through the process and find the best mortgage option for you. I will work with you every step of the way to ensure that you are getting the best deal possible. So if you're looking to purchase or refinance, please reach out to me at 502-680-0953. So don't take on the stress of buying a home alone. Work with me and I will make your dream a reality. Trust the professionals and make your home buying experience a positive one. MLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, MLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is equal housing opportunity.
If you would like to share suggestions for future episodes, an intriguing ghost story, or simply tell us how much you love or hate us, please get in touch with us. You can reach us via email at newsworthywithstephencherry@gmail.com or send us a text at area code 540-709-1318.
And now, back to the story. Man, I tell you what, living this close to a train track, we got to learn their schedule. I got a great one for you, and as if hard talking tonight hasn't been any more difficult, I'm going to see if I can make it even worse. According to Native American myth, Pukwudgies are small, goblin-like creatures known for their mischievous behavior. They stand 2 to 3 feet tall, have gray skin, large ears, and can shapeshift into mysterious creatures, including one that looks like a porcupine from the back, a half troll, half human from the front. Stories about Pukwudgies vary between tribes. The Ojibwa people claiming that the creatures are friendly and play harmless pranks, and the Wampanoag, man, that's a hard word, people warning that they can be deadly. Assorted legends tell the Pukwudgies' abilities to turn invisible, make people forget, or shoot victims with magic arrows. Through the centuries, sightings of these mysterious cryptids have been reported from the East Coast to the Great Lakes, but much of the lore surrounding them centers in Massachusetts, home of the Wampanoag tribe, specifically Freetown State Forest and Homomock Swamp. In 1990, a local man named Bill Russo was walking his dog late at night when he allegedly spotted a 3-foot-tall humanoid creature covered in black hair that spoke in a bizarre language and tried to lure him into the nearby swamp. What's more, there have been reportedly multiple unexplained deaths at the ledge of the Freetown State Forest in recent years that some people believe have been the Pukwudgies leading people to their demise. Today's episode brought to you by our great sponsors, Ed Locke at USA Mortgage and Smoking Gun Jerky of Lincoln, Nebraska. Use code CRYPTID10 for a great discount. And Jerry, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.